Hi guys, so welcome to another video. Today it is the Multicam Black theory. We're going to be running down on some of our own kit, the camouflage capabilities of Multicam Black, a little bit of the history and the civilian use aspect of this Multicam. So to start off with, we're going to be talking a little bit about the history behind Multicam Black. So obviously Multicam Black comes from the company Multicam. It was first developed by Cry Precision. It was first designed in 2013, meaning that the pattern is around 10 years old now, so it's a relatively new pattern if you compare it to other things like M81 and Multicam itself. And what Multicam came out with was Multicam Arid, Multicam Tropic, Multicam Black and Multicam Alpine, and that was part of their new range of camouflage systems for extreme environments. And really Multicam Black was targeted at the law enforcement industry, special forces, military obviously, but also kind of specialist forest groups if you like. Obviously you don't really see Multicam Black being used in forest environments much, but that's what the internet says, and I did a little bit of digging, and so they say that they have. And the design itself was to project an authoritative presence which was appropriate for domestic operations and counter-terror environments. The main target audience for Multicam Black was obviously top-tier military groups and law enforcement. They use Multicam Black to distinguish themselves from other units, so in this case it's used for PID purposes.
So now moving on to talk about some nighttime effectiveness levels. The pattern itself includes black and dark olive. Dark olive, or any green really, mixed with black is great for nighttime camouflage, especially to the naked eye. These dark colours blended together and matched to the pattern make it a great colour scheme for the visible light levels present in twilight and at the dead of night. While some people say that it's not effective under night vision, we still think it doesn't make a great difference. If you mix it with other patterns and block tones, Multicam Black can be seriously effective due to the variety of the pattern that the colours are providing.
Okay, so now on to our next topic. We're going to talk about the civilian use of Multicam Black, and that kind of coincides with civil unrest. So civil unrest really is countries when they fall into some type of rioting, looting, well, just people being unrestful really, people almost acting in a terror fashion, if you like. We've seen it happen in America, we've seen it happen here in the UK, currently it's happening a lot in France, but really what Multicam Black plays a role in, especially in the United States, is PID. If you've got some Multicam Black on you, the law enforcement are going to see that and think, oh, that's the good guy, you know, he's not a threat to us, he's trying to get his family to safety, or he's trying to help the people around him to safety. No Op4 is really going to be wearing Multicam Black, and we'll talk a little bit about why most people don't have Multicam Black a little bit later on in this topic. But really, it's good for nighttime use, Multicam Black. As a civilian, it's great for nighttime use. If you're, say, like we are now, almost in the backcountry pretty much, if you're going out on some kind of recce, it works quite well. Obviously not as well as Tropic and things like that, but at night time, to the naked eye, it works really well. Night vision will move that to one side, we're not going to talk about that. gets a little bit too technical, but it does work. If you're not dressed head to toe in Multicam Black, it works really well. But like any other camouflage, you shouldn't be dressed head to toe in the same thing. You need to break up the pattern. You need to break in some block colours, some different camouflage, some different patterns. It just breaks up your shape, the humanoid figure, a little bit better. Now moving back into civil unrest, really, it's an authoritative pattern, if you like. So law enforcement recognise it, especially in the United States, but also here in the UK. Many people recognise Multicam Black as police, law enforcement, military. Nobody else is going to be using it. Why? Because they don't really sell in surplus stores. If you're going to have some redneck hillbillies doing some rioting in your local village or town, they're going to be wearing M81 Realtree. Although that is drippy, they're still going to be wearing it. They might be wearing Multicam for you, or DPM, maybe even Tiger Stripe. All the things that you can find in a surplus store, people will wear. But normally people don't wear camouflage during civil unrest unless it spreads out into the countryside. And as I said, unless you have some redneck hillbillies doing some stuff. But Multicam Black works really well for PID with law enforcement. It symbolises that you're on their team, you're a friendly person, you're not op4, you're not looking for any malicious activities really. It proves that you're on their side, you're not trying to do any harm.
So moving on to talk about our kit. We tend to have multiple purposes for all our kits. However, our Multicam Black kit is primarily used for covert style training, low profile rig use, and just generic uses on the range. We want to grab a quick rig, get it set up and start shooting. So here Will is going to talk about his rig, how he uses it and what he uses it for.
So really what I wanted to use it for was the shooting range. I wanted a small lightweight rig that I could just pick up, grab, go onto the range instead of having to bring my plate carrier along, especially if I'm working on marksman drills or just shooting, not necessarily training in the kit. Say I haven't got the time or whatever reason, I don't want to train in all the kit and I just want to focus on the rifle or the pistol. I can just grab this and I can go out the front door, go to the shooting range and basically sling some rounds down the range. So I went with a Spirit Systems Mark V. I got it when it's pretty new. Now I've worn it for a while, and underneath that I've got a Ferro Concepts mini dangler. I find this actually pretty useful. It's almost as good as the Spiritus sack, but obviously it's slightly wider, shorter, so it works really nicely with a belt kit. But what I've got in here is some gloves. I've got Bally, and I've got a little cheeky surprise thing in there, which we don't talk about or else YouTube will get rid of us. But it can store quite a lot. It can store my phone, my battery pack, it can even store some camera equipment, and I believe it can even store a Glock 19 if that's what you want to do. Personally I wouldn't, but it can. On the left hand side of the Mark V I've got a BFG pistol mag pouch, and in it I've got my Leatherman Super Tool 300. We'll talk about this in a separate video later on, but the reason why I like the Mark V is it's very modular. It's got all this molly on the front and all this molly on the side. You can pretty much put anything on it, all kinds of equipment, pouches, whatever you want, you can mount it to it. So I can scale this up or scale it to its lightest format, which I'm using right now. I tend to run 2 mags in it, and just fill my pockets with mags. We're talking range terms now, so if I'm on the range I will fill this with as many mags as I can, then just dump the rest in my pockets. Also got radio here, works really well. The radio, I chose to go with the Spirit Systems fat straps, just for comfortable use really. They're super comfortable, they're fat, so they spread the weight out nicely, especially if I did scale this up. But in other uses, so covert uses, it works nicely under a jacket or a jumper or anything like that. But also, talking of speed and civil unrest, which we can't really speak about civil unrest too much in this country, it's a grey area, as a lot of you might know. Some of you American viewers will probably not care so much, but in the UK it's certainly a grey area. But if there was something to go bump in the night, then I can sling this over my shoulder, grab whatever I need, the magic wand, the magic stick, and I can just go at it. So really that is my rig. It's just Spiritus and Ferro. I don't really vary the brands on this. I'm not really bothered about the brands. I just like their Multicam black patterns. I think that they make some nice kit in Multicam black. And lastly, why did I choose Multicam black? Well, a lot of my kit is Ranger green, Multicam Arid, so I wanted something that stands out from the rest, so when it's in the gearbox I can grab it, I can go without having to fiddle around with what's what in the box and things like that. That's the main purpose, but also stick to the covert side of things. So that's why. And now Rob's going to talk to you about his chest rig setup.
So yeah, I have the Spirit Systems bank robber rig in Multicam black. Now this rig is a very low profile rig, sort of 4 pouches across the front here, running left to right. Right and the left I have my Baofeng radio. Now this is keeping in touch with any of my oppos who I'm working with at the time. Now this rig is primarily for light sort of raid reconnaissance work. You know, I'm not in this for hours at a time. It's for short, sharp, quick, objective reaching targets. Again, like Will said with the mags, I've got 3 in here. Again, pockets, you can fill them on the range. You know, you don't have to have absolutely loads in your rig. You know, you can swap them about, take them out of the ammo tin, you're all set. Now the main reason behind sort of the bank robber is just the ability to collapse this as a system. Having the X harness, it's quickly detachable and packs down to an absolutely minuscule amount. You know, you can roll this up, and Will's actually showed me a picture of this in people's pockets, you know, especially on the Vida Pros, albeit with the gloves off. This in a cargo pocket, absolutely no problem. So if minimalistic stuff is your thing, the bank robber's for you. Then just down on the strap, I have a little carabiner. On here, gloves, shooting gloves for a cold night, extra layers, whatever. Chem sticks, this is just a 4-inch, or actually even a 2-inch model, but generally we like to run longer ones. This is for, again, PID, marking safe zones, hostile environments, signalling, anything that you want to use a chem for. It's close to me and it's ready for use.
So, to really show off the camouflage capabilities of Multicam Black, I have my Multicam Black placard here. As you can see, we've magically appeared in a different landscape. A lot of this is browns, tans, oranges, and greenery at the back. This does not work well in here. It doesn't work as a camouflage. Multicam Arid, Multicam work quite well in here. Real tree as well, obviously. Multicam Black does not work in this environment. However, when we start getting into those dark environments, when we start going at night with your naked eye, when we start going into darker woodland, you'll see that it does work ever so slightly better. Reason being, as we've said before, it's all black, but the green does break up that black shape, so it's not as, it doesn't stand out as much. So you will still see it like you'd see Multicam. The point is, it does blend in just a little bit more. So as you can see, we're still in broad daylight. You can still see it. Of course you're going to see it. However, we're in slightly bit of a darker, shadier area, the forest that we're in today. And it is starting, ever so slightly, starting to blend in a little bit. Obviously it still stands out because it is predominantly black. But if you think about this possibly being evening, nighttime, to the naked eye, and especially from a distance, you're probably not going to see that as much as you think. We don't really have a good example to show you, but as always, we advise that you get out there and test it yourself. If you think it doesn't work, we want to hear about it, and we want to see. No arguments, we just want to see, and we want to test other people's theories. Like we said, this video is Multicam Black theory. This is our theory, these are our thoughts. We have got some factual information that we had towards the start of the video, which we spoke about the history, the reason why pattern is black and green. But it's up to you to figure out whether it works for you. We haven't found a flaw in this for what we use it for. It works extremely well in dark environments. It works extremely well at night towards the naked eye. So really, the best thing that we can really tell you is to get out there, get using it, and see how well it works. If it doesn't work, no drama. Pick a camo that does work. It is that simple. So, in conclusion to the Multicam Black theory, there is no right or wrong answer to what Multicam Black can be used for. It's something that you've got to go out and test for yourself, test in your environment, because we don't know where you are. It might work really well in your surroundings. It might actually work really well as a camouflage. You might prove us that when we did our little experiment in the woods with the Multicam Black, dark vegetation, that it does work really well, and actually it's just as good as any other multicam, if not better. It might be that you're a night vision user and you absolutely hate multicam black. In that case, we don't really care, because we're not talking about dressing head to toe in multicam black. We're talking about pieces of equipment. The theory behind multicam black is to use it in moderation. Of course you're not going to be head to toe in it. You wouldn't with anything else, would you? So it's all about moderation. The theory behind it is you should use it for a very, very specific reason. PID purposes, like we use it for. Civil unrest, like many people use it for. Maybe you're in law enforcement and that's what you use it for, with a little bit of Ranger Green as well. Or maybe you're military and your group in your regiment needs Multicam Black for whatever you're doing. Multicam Black only works when you want it to work, if that makes any sense really. You shouldn't force it to work with anything else. You should only really be getting it if you absolutely need it. It's not like any other camouflage. You shouldn't really view it as a camouflage. It's more of just a generic pattern, green and black. So say you were dressed in all black like I am right now, might be an idea to chuck some green in there to get rid of my human shape. But overall, that's the conclusion to the Multicam Black theory. We hope that you enjoyed the video, the little kit breakdowns, and yeah, that's a wrap.